their speed. Just so they, I say, you get a picture of the feelings you're getting during your swing. You can put a picture together with those feelings.
That's it.
Usually, students say, it doesn't look like I'm swinging very fast. And everyone thinks they're swinging too fast, but when they see it, you ever snap hook?
But yet, the shot that just makes me, that's the thin off to the right.
Yeah.
And then I started laying the sod over it last fall. That was a new one for me.
Hitting behind it?
Yeah.
Was that pretty good? You figured out what he meant there.
Especially where you guys are. Here in this part of the country, that Bermuda grows in the summer, and it has, the stolons are on top of the soil and below, so it's hard to take a big divot. Where you guys are from, a big old.
Normally, I can't take a divot. It's just thin.
Thin, yeah.
They're all thin, no divots.
You can play good golf in them thin. And with your type of, the shape of your swing, it's best if you hit the thins. Because the other alternative is the fats. You can't play hitting the fats. I usually slow the swing down just so they can see. The student really still doesn't know what they're looking at, but it just slows it down. So I make sure that I'm not making any mistakes in what I'm going to fix. I'm going to fix one of two things. And this is the choice you have to make when you're teaching. Am I going to fix the slice, or am I going to fix a hook? I can't fix them both at the same time. Guys that tend to hook will either hit the thin push right or hook. The guys that slice will either hit a pull or a slice. Now when guys start working on their games, they can get some funny variations, but the swing shape will tell you what they tend to get. Okay. I'm going to start out just like I do with this. This explanation is regardless of what level of golfer they're at. If they're the first-time golfer, I may not even bring them up here. We may just work on the motion of the swing first. Getting the club from the ground up over the right shoulder, back down to the ground on the left shoulder. Just getting a raw motion in their swing. We only bring them up to show them video when we're trying to refine their motion. When we're creating motion, they don't even need to look and see what they look like. Because they'll either get discouraged or they won't know what the heck they're looking at. So it's not even any use. In our beginner clinics, they don't even video. They just work on motion, and then at the very end, they refine motion. So,
Makes sense.
if I'm bringing someone up here to refine the motion that they have, I'll go through this explanation here. We usually draw a couple lines. I don't draw all these lines all the time. I always draw the line on the shaft. Sometimes I'll draw lines on their upper body just to show them some reference points. On the left-hand side of the screen, I'm videoing this, or I'm taping this, so everything will be on your tape. I draw a line. I pick a point between their hips, like where the zipper is, and I draw the line perpendicular to the ground. Explain to the student a neutral setup would have all your body parts centered on that line. And in here, Paul, your head is a little bit back. That line should be going more or less through your left eye. And then the triangle created by your shoulders, hands, and arms should be centered on that line, and yours is pushed a little bit forward.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Your hand should be back here
Okay, yeah.
on this line.
My right shoulder's
The relationships of your body parts are dictated by your hands and the club. If your hands were positioned on the club like this, then your shoulders would be at the same height, at the proper dress position. It wouldn't make any sense to set up like this and to have your hands pushed forward like this, because you've got this relationship here in your hands and a different relationship in your shoulders. But because my right hand is below my left hand on the grip, my right hand, or my right shoulder should be below my left shoulder, but only the same amount as my right hand is below my left hand on the grip. So when you push your hands forward like that, it creates a different relationship in your hands compared to your shoulders. So your hands should, if I pushed your hands back, this right shoulder would come up, the left shoulder would level out, and they'd equal each other. Typically, when someone pushes their hands forward and their head back, the first movement with the club is to go straight to the inside, too much to the inside. Now, you don't do that.
Now, could that be also caused by ball position though too? I mean, the ball, I've always felt the ball's too far forward. Would I be pushing my hands forward because the ball position is bad?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. Pushing the ball, having a ball position too far forward like you have here is something that you typically wouldn't see with someone with the shape of swing like you have. Typically when people tend to bottom out too early, they'll move the ball back in their stance. Yeah. Well, you're all screwed up.
Counting is looking more, that's my
Okay,
word.
let's go to the next. So that just means that there's a combination of things that you do that are offsetting one another. So a neutral setup would push your hands back and your head forward a little bit. Now we also talk a little sometimes about the angle that you're bent forward from the hips. You look very good here. There's not a specific angle we're looking for, but as a reference point, I usually draw from the student's ear to about the middle of their hips, where their hip socket would be. That way, if they change their posture during their swing, it's really easy to detect. I mean,
Sure.
it's right on their ear at the start. Now it's, their ear is way below it, or it just gives them some type of reference. We explain that you just need to be in an athletic position. Bend forward from your hips, knees flexed, similar to a lot of athletic positions. A guy poaching in tennis, getting up at the net, a defensive player in basketball, or a fielder getting ready to field the ball. Bend forward from the hips, knees, legs flexed on the balls of the feet. You look darn good here. We're looking for your arms to be hanging down from your shoulders like you are here, Paul, and for there to be a little bit of room between your arms and your legs. Not too much like this, not too much like that.
And you look at the perpendicular shaft to the spine angle, or
Not really. I mean, that may be something that's valid, but I've never heard anyone mention it. I've never heard Hank mention it. The guy that taught Hank how to teach believes strongly in that. But what his students tend to start looking like is bent over way too much. We try to get the angle of the club shaft more or less at their belt line. You look darn good here. If we could just get this picture a little bit better. And if I move your hands back, I'm thinking, wow, now how much outside will the club be? Let's look here at the right-hand side of the screen now. I explained about this line here. This is where the club shaft started. In order to hit the ball correctly, meaning the right trajectory with the right curve, hitting the ball in the center of the face, hitting the ground in the right spot, and at the right depth, it's important to return that club right back to where you started. So it's pretty simple. You start with the club. Let me close this down. You start with the club at that angle. Your goal is to return the club to that angle. The easiest way to accomplish that is to swing the club parallel to that angle throughout the whole swing. That would be the easiest way to get it back to where it started. Usually when I explain that to people, what are you talking about?
Steve,
What?
one question.
Sure.
As long as it's in my mind. Camera
Uh-huh.
position. Obviously, if the camera changes position, it changes your picture and angle. What
Right.
correct is about waist high, hands high?
Yeah, I mean, and we've had the benefit of talking to a lot of guys, and we did it on just trial and error. Anywhere between the center of gravity, which is right about your belly button, is probably be about the height to put them.
Okay.
You put them too high, the takeaway always looks low. You put the cameras too low, you can't see the club at the top.
Okay, yeah.
And it's hard. The farther you move the cameras back, the less of that photography parallax that you'll get, the less precise you need to be. The closer the cameras are, the more precise you need to be with where you position. We position the down the line camera right in between the target line and their feet.
Okay.
If you put it too much on the player's body, the takeaway looks outside too
Right,
much.
yeah.
If you put it on the target line, the takeaway looks too much to the inside.
That's okay. But I knew that.
And there's tricks that, I mean, students get some swings that they can trick the cameras. That's why it's good to watch them, independently of the cameras too.
They said at that video seminar I went to, they said about 4 feet high up.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you can experiment too. The farther you place this guy at Carl Welty, the guy that does a lot of video at La Costa, he recommended putting the cameras 40 feet behind the subject
Oh, my.
and just zooming in,
And zoom.
because that reduces the parallax of the cameras. We have really wide-angle lenses here, and nowadays, I mean, these are 7 years old. You can get the cameras even closer. That distorts the sides of the picture even more. So, I mean, it's tricky.
Sure.
Okay, so I explained about the shaft swinging parallel and all that. And so what I explained is that the club should travel back along that angle, and as the club swings up over your right shoulder, if we're to stop the club motion, that club shaft should be parallel to that original angle. Above that angle, but parallel to it. Likewise, on the downswing, the club should be parallel until it reaches the same spot or the same angle at impact. And then as the club swings over your left shoulder, we should see it again parallel to that angle. Now, if your club isn't swinging parallel to that angle, it's not swinging in a neutral motion. And it will either be more upright than that angle or flatter than that angle. And sometimes we talk about club fitting. If I can see that the club is like a guy's 6'5" and he's using 2-degree flat standard length clubs, I'll explain something about club fitting. It's important to get clubs that are good for you so you can get in the correct posture and you have a chance of returning the club in the correct angle. Then I usually just go through and show them what the swing looks like. You see here, you look pretty darn good right here. Now it's a little bit outside of where you should be at this point. It's a little bit upright. At this point, that club head should be back in here right over your hands. When you're parallel to the ground like you are here, Paul, that club shaft should be parallel to your feet, or the target line.
Instead of pointed left.
Yeah, yours is a little bit outside. Your club head is right here, and it should be right here.
Okay, did you talk about face angle here at all?
I probably secondarily, yeah.
Stay away from that for now.
Yeah, your club face does get closed, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Right? In the first explanation, I just want to get the students looking at their club motion.
Okay.
You wouldn't believe how many students start looking at the body right away. That's a big difference in the way we teach compared to the guys in this area. Everyone goes to the body.
Mm-hmm.
Your right arm, left arm, your turn. We're looking at the club because the club's directly affecting the ball. So we're looking at the club first. As the club continues back, now it's easy to see that club shaft is too upright. Sometimes I'll explain to people, I say, we're just getting a starting point. When someone calls here for directions, why ask them where you're coming from? Are you coming from Dallas? I'll give you directions from Dallas. We're just seeing where you're coming from right here at this point. It's a little bit too upright. Continues to be too upright. And I may point out to the student, your club shaft is here, and parallel to the original angle would put you right there. And invariably, they'll skip ahead. Why am I doing that? What do I need to do? So, we're just seeing what we're doing here first.
$100.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of the lesson.
Here's a bag of ball, go out and
Now it's
fix it.
$300 an hour.
Now this club is very upright here because it's pointed a little bit to the right of the target line, but you're not even close to parallel to the ground here. The club should be pointed at the target line when you're parallel to the ground. I mean, you're this much too upright. You're 50 degrees too upright at this point.
Could you explain that again? If you use a protractor.
Well, I mean, this is really just a straight edge. I'm not even checking angles.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're saying
I
it's 50.
go like that.
But
Could be a ruler.
you said it's 50 degrees upright.
Well, let's say that this club shaft is pointing parallel to his feet. So we'll say he's parallel to the target line. he should be parallel to the target line when he's parallel to the ground.
And that's
And that would
15
be
degrees.
parallel to the ground.
Because if I brought it to parallel, it would be
It
50
would be,
degrees to
yeah,
the right.
exactly, exactly. So this is very upright. One of three things is going to happen. Either you're going to come down on too steep of an angle, you're going to dig the toe into the ground, you're going to pull and slice, which you don't do. Or you're going to flatten the shaft out, like Nick Price, and flatten it to the correct angle, you're going to hit good shots. Depending on timing to do it, but you can hit good shots. Or you're going to flatten it out and it's going to flatten too much. You're going to hit thins, you're going to hit behind it, you're going to push it, you're going to hook it. That's you.
Flatten out too much.
Yeah. You disguise it really well. The thing is,
That's
the
a
club,
personality trait.
there's the club can be coming down on a steep angle like this, but the club head can be way behind your body. So there's two things that we're going to need to fix, and I'll show you on the downswing. We're going to have to get. It's going to be tough for you to see here in this video, but your club, because it's so upright here, it flattens out. When it flattens out, it gets behind. It gets behind your body too much. That's why you get that reverse rotation in your arms and you get that block and thin. And I would imagine you get a lot of hits right here off the toe.
Well, I tend to get, I'll get up on my toes then, and that kind of compensates for that.
Okay. Anyway, let's look at the downswing here. You can see that your arms are pushing out, but the shaft is flattening.
Yeah.
Pretty good angle right there. Now you can see here, the club head is close to that angle, but your hands and arms are way outside that angle. So if we were to put your hands and arms back to where they should be, back here, that club head would be way too shallow.
That
You-
position.
Yeah. So if I could get you to round out your backswing and had the same downswing, you'd hook the heck out of it. Even more than you do now. I mean, I know you get some of the snap hooks, but like you say, your big
My biggest fear is that.
is the right.
Is
So-
that, now, when you said that,
And that's interesting.
so you're here like this, so he's here like this, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're saying if he moved his arms in online,
Yeah, if we moved his hands back to where they should be,
so
back here.
this would be like the position.
Right.
Then I'd have the
Exactly.
club here, not too flat.
Right. And that's why I say you look very steep here.
Yeah,
But you're in the process of flattening it. That's why you get this rotation in your arms this way. Some of it's due to the reason you get the backswing so upright is because you have reverse rotation in your arms.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get your setup a little bit more neutral. I'm going to get your setup a little bit more neutral. Hands back, head forward. I'm going to get you have a little bit of this where you cock your wrist, your left wrist is a little bit too flat early. It gets the club head behind your body too early. I'm going to show you how to cock your wrist a little bit differently. I'm going to get your arms to rotate. Because if you go like this in the backswing, you're going to go like that in the downswing. Anyone that tends to be a little bit too upright at the top is going to tend to be a little bit too flat and behind in the downswing. So I'm going to get you a little bit different wrist cock, get your arms to rotate, and then show you how to rotate it back. It should be, actually should be, I'm not going to say you're going to be able to take it out on the course today, but I'll be able to set you there right now. A little bit of
Yeah,
this.
no, I know that. I mean, I've never,
The club is getting, it's because it has to flatten, the club head is getting way too far behind.
Oh, yeah, I know that. I'm really surprised here, I've had other videos, I'm surprised I'm as in line impact here as, I mean, sometimes I've had myself where I'm like this at impact. See, now that,
Mhm. And a strong grip, a 10-finger grip, a stronger grip would help you offset that.
that's,
But let's step out here. Let's try here. I'm just going to show you what we're going to do over the next couple days here. Well, the most important cause and effect.
What shutter speed do you have on?
It's 1/1000th, and we're not too proud of our video setup right now. He's 7 years old. We've gone through the process. Some of our cameras have, or some of our decks have broken, so we've got some other ones that we weren't too happy with. Our screen splitters are starting to get pretty old. No, we're gonna have to upgrade
Well,
it.
three of us teach in domes, and Paul's a little farther north of
Uh-huh.
the smaller community, and we have a little trouble with lighting in this.
Yeah, the lighting is so dark that you can't get the shutter speed. up.
Yeah, if you could get maybe just some, a lot of the guys just have tripods and they have some quartz lights that they just shine on the subject. You don't need much now anymore with the cameras. Okay, that's good, so.
Taking a hit, because I don't want to shake right now.
No, I can do that too.
That looks great. And I'll point out, I'll stand behind the student, I'll point out to the student, you see how the triangle of your arms is in the center of your body? I'm just trying to line your head up with your spine here, that's why. Yeah, that looks great. What we need to do is we need to get your wrist cocking this way at the start of the swing. See how your wrist is a little bit cupped still? And then from there, you can get your arms to rotate this way. Your arms rotate.
It's so weird.
Now look at the TV. That was a lot different. And from there, that's the action. The reaction would be in the downswing this way. Good. Keep going. Let's try again. Turn the shoulder back. That looks great. Check that out. I mean, look at his club face, looks much different now. Your club face looks a lot different. It doesn't look so much like that.
Yeah.
Let's go this morning, Tony.
I'm feeling like my hands are going up this way now instead of back here. Just-
Let me see you make a little practice swing like that. Let's get your set up. Okay, hang on here. Let's look at the right-hand side, or the left-hand side of the TV before you take it back. Your eyes are tilted. Just try to line your head up with your spine. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. That's very good. Let's try again. Hands back, hands back. But I may explain to the person, the butt of the grip should be pointing more at your belt buckle. Because yours tends to point too much toward your right. There you go. Head, hang on. Eyes level. Oh, go ahead, Steve. Good for you. Let's take a look at that. Tony, these guys are all from Minnesota. God's country. He said, not this year.
No snow now?
Not this year.
We're getting all that
Yeah, you,
We had some
great weather for everybody's down south is getting.
Check this out, Paul. You look at from this angle here, your eyes should be parallel to the ground.
Which they are now.
Yeah, they look good. That looks great. Lift your hands out a little bit, but you can see that when you go this way, you get some rotation of the club this direction. When your arms get stuck inside this way, yeah, it gets too upright. This is much better here. Much better.
Shoulder shirt seems to find the ball up better.
You he tends to swing his arms across your body a little bit. That's why I just push back like this, and I got your arms more out in front of your body. So I've got to get a little bit more wrist cocking up at the start, not pushing arms out. Wrist cocking up at the start. That's all right. We'll pick that up like this, and then we'll get your arms to rotate. I'll get a towel real quick. Let me show you something here. When someone disguises their mistake like you do, what I'll have them do is I'll say, hey, why don't you make a practice swing right up here, just like you're going to hit a baseball right here. And let's go back with your old yourself. Right here, I want you to just make a practice swing like this. I'm going to videotape it. Okay, go ahead and make a practice swing. All the way through. Back swing. Great. Try again. Okay, let me show you here. All right, and tape. I'm gonna do one more swing like that and tape. I got it on here to tape it on. Right there, practice swing right there. When a player takes a practice swing up there, it doesn't disguise that mistake that you're making, that steep-looking swing. Watch this.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Change. You made some big changes.
So now the plane of your swing is like right here. It's too shallow. You can see it's too shallow here. The club head's coming way underneath that angle. When you found a way to make that flattening of the club shaft work by pushing your hands out. So when you look at it on the video, it looks like it's too steep a swing. It's actually it's shallowing too much. And you can see it a lot easier here. You can see how it's laid back. So you could show that to a student that has a similar look, like your swing has. It looks like this, and then on the downswing it looks too upright. You can show them by having them make a practice swing up off the ground that, hey, look, this club is flattening too much. You're compensating by pushing your arms out. That's why it looks so steep.
Yeah, I thought it was too steep.
Yeah. It's shallowing too much. Yeah, that's what it does. That's why it kind of disguises it.
And even you explaining it to me, I kind of picked up on it, but it was a little bit tough to know, so, well, wait a minute, what do you mean if you moved your hands back? Obviously, if you went back in my swing, it becomes too steep again.
Right.
But you're just saying if you took that position and moved it back.
Yeah, then the club head
too
would be
flat.
way too long. Yeah. Let's try one here. I'm going to set you in the background and have you just make contact with the ground, okay? And you're very easy to move around. Just brush the ground. Great. Let's try again. Rotate your arms. Rotate their back. The hip. You see, make a backswing and stop. Great. Now all the way down to the ground. For you. That was better. Let's try again. Swing and stop. You got here before, haven't you? Where's your swing? It looks like you.
I've gotten everywhere in my swing. This is not one that I...
Now from here, we can't afford to have a flat.
No.
From here, it needs to rotate back.
So I need to feel.
You need to feel a rotation. You need to freeze like that.
It's almost like the club is coming out, saying outside, right? So don't let it get inside the pin.
Yeah, it's rotated this way, and on the downswing, it needs to rotate back out in front of your chest. Good? Good for you. Let's hit one like this. See how you're hitting the ground farther forward now?
I'm always trying to get my eyes in over back.
Hands back, hands back, hands back. Drop the ball. Hands low.
It's hard.
It
It's
should
hard
land
to take
about
against
here.
people because they feel squirrely.
Instead of the over. So that's probably, that must be.
It's not an all or nothing thing, we don't have to get it to a perfect
Because you
position.
try to drop the ball right on.
No, it's still a little bit too up. I'm gonna set you up there.
Everything's perfect, the ball is a little bit farther from the ball. It should be a good line. The ball's on. It should,
Your hook should be higher trajectory hooks.
that make sense?
Should be
Coil.
Yeah.
I can't get the, hit a high foot, can't do it.
It's good. Evolution forward.
More off?
Yeah. Because you want to catch it just slightly on the upswing.
Good going. Those are hooking.
That's perfect there. Hands just a little farther.
John, I had a question. When Paul took it back there, and he told me he was still taking it up. He was still taking it
Uh-huh.
steep his backswing.
That was
And he
really
goes,
good.
how does he see? He says, how does he see that? As it,
Oh,
what is your, when you do some of those things, and I know it's different when you teach all the time. What is your focal point?
Much better.
I'm looking at the shaft. I'm
shaft.
looking at the shaft. And even from here, I can tell it looked too much. There, that's it.
Well, what I'm feeling, my hands are out here now instead of back here. It's the biggest sensation.
That's great. There's a trade-off between, there's things that you do in your swing that would tend to make the club too upright. And there's other things that you do, like the flatter your arms get, the more upright something else has to get to equal out, to get back to neutral. So people that tend to swing their arms across their body, they will tend to get the club shaft upright.
Well, that answers why the flatter I try to get it, the steeper it goes.
Yeah, because you're getting flatter with your arms. Just like Nicholas. There's a crowd, we had a real hard time 3 years ago. He was working with Rick Smith, and he was trying to round his swing out. And we saw some pictures in the Golf Digest back in the early 70s, and a swing at the top of the swing, he looked like this.
Well, that's what, I guess that's what it was.
And then what he was working on with Rick Smith made him look more like this. And he said he was trying to round his swing out. If you look at the shaft, watch on you look at the shaft. This, which everyone seems to think is too upright or more upright, is actually more rounded than the shaft. And this is more rounded with the arms, but the shaft is way too upright. The problem he was having, like when he was here, couldn't get the ball in the air. He's always been known to hit the ball high. He couldn't hit his fairway woods and his long irons. It's too much. His arms were too much across, and the shaft is too upright. Back in the 70s, he hit it high and long, and he was up like this. His arms were very upright, but the shaft is very round. So that's why when you look at the shaft, because it's really, it dictates.
But you need to get the club flatter. Do you need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have the arm steeper? Not necessarily.
Well, steeper than more upright than where yours were. Because if I kept your arms in the same spot, my shaft, round the shaft out, then you could only hit the ball when it was on great lines or on a tee. You hit it well in, but when the ball's sitting on a thin line, you'd have too much roundness in your swing. You couldn't get the proper angle to get the ball in the ground. You're going to be easy about it this way. Now your pitching, how's your pitching? Pitching the ball, I mean,
Putting.
putting's okay. Sand game, pretty good?
It used to be.
Okay. So we're gonna get you hands back, eyes level, cocking your wrists, rotating your arms, and then what we'll mostly work on, because this should be pretty easy to get, is the rotating it back to where you come from. That's it. That's good.
Trust the chips.
How's that upright? That was upright with his arms and the shaft.
Now you can chip really within from the back.
I don't quite, the rotation of the forearms.
Here's what your arms should do in the swing. You should lift a little bit as your wrist cock. You should rotate back. See, because that's the position. Your arms are not allowed to be. So when you're reversing, you go to this before kind of rotation to
Like a flop shot.
That's it. Good going. That's it.
Just chip it as if we were hitting the same ones we were hitting yesterday.
Good.
Practice.
Very good.
What's the club face feel like when you're doing that?
Good morning, how are you?
Great, thank you.
Well, a club face feels like it's, not so hooded, but it's not caused from my hand.
Yes, a little more upright.
It's caused, more from the
Right.
middle part.
Look, a little more front.
That's it.
Forward.
Good. Very nice.
That's better.
And what I do in an hour lesson would take maybe 5 minutes to go downstairs and look and see where his ball flight was going. A couple minutes just talking to him about his game, what he's hoping to get out of the lesson.
A little more up.
A couple minutes videoing, about 5 or 6 minutes analyzing. We'd probably work about 20 minutes, me moving him around, setting him there, having himself set like I was talking about, just having him rehearse correctly. And then when I knew that the ball was getting up in the air better and drawing, to go outside and fix the draw. That looks great there, Paul. He's having a hard time with his eyes, because the eyes they're not the most difficult thing to change. It changes, if I take his head from here and I move it to here, it gives him a whole different perspective of his swing.
Remember what I said?
So I just go in there and explain a few times and then just keep looking back, sort of feel where it was.
See how the back knee, because it was a little shallow.
You can hear by the sound of that you hit down a little bit more on that one. That would have been a lower trajectory shot. It sounded like the face got square. But it would definitely have been lower. So now if lower trajectory, it's got to round out more. Too upright, you're going to hit down on it, you're going to take trajectory off the shot.
But I have to make sure that I do that I don't do it by doing this.
Going, just letting your arms rotate the shot.
Beautiful. Let me show you that. Let me show you why that's better.
That's great. There you go. That was good. That was your best one by yourself. Just narrow your stance just a little bit. Hands back, head forward.
Stand normal, and then you go this direction. What do you think?
You start it up like this, then you land the shot. That was awesome.
That's the handle forward. Okay? And that's what creates kind of a straight line.
Yeah, that was. I gotta film one, Paul. I've got it on your tape, but I gotta film one show. That was really good.
Looks like you're gonna give it a scoop.
Probably to come up and rotate your arms.
Just why, you pointed it out, but what, does that help me do what I'm trying to do?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead or should I?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, cock the thumb up a little bit and rotate your arms. Very good. Very good. Let's take a look here. Very good.
Yeah, angles off that.
Still a little bit upright. Not as upright. Because you can see now you're about 15 degrees. You went from 50 degrees too upright to 15 degrees too upright. And what I would do with you is I'd just keep getting you in the setup, keep getting you to rehearse to the correct position, and you keep getting closer and closer and closer to that.
Now, will it not be as inside?
It shouldn't be.
I'm still gonna reroute it.
That's more out in front of you. It's pretty darn good. It's pretty darn good.
What, Joe?
Your back position is much better.
This was Stephen Ballas.
Look at even the angle of the shaft is coming back. You get better rotation there. This face is pretty closed here too.
You should have a huge,
Remember?
between the ball.
You you give me
Your
duck
your
hooks.
Well, your hooks are gonna be higher hooks. They're not gonna be along the ground. Ideally, what I would, you can see where your club position is like this. I'd get you more this way.
And notice where the ball.
I'd see you,
that here.
I'd have you hit a couple hooks and then try to take that hook out. Use your hands,
The outside part of that
flip it
ball.
over this way.
This way. And the hand like that. Keeps that face a little.
Still be drawn. That was good. We're gonna go downstairs in a little bit, we're gonna check.
Maybe said I could go first today, that's the first thing I did yesterday afternoon. First thing, hands back. There you go. Excellent. Good. Good. Let's try again. Try to feel, is it okay to feel like my hands are not? That's it. That's it. There you go. And it's just gonna come in. Did you hit some over? Yes, sir. Blocks in your own. Did you get Okay, so like this before, we're hit like that. Now we're like this, and we gotta hit this one. Yeah.
I think we've been told so many years, especially inside, we want to, no matter what we want to do, we want to.
I have been, this is honest, I have been trying to get my, I see my swing set, see it big, I know it's like, I've been busting, I'm trying to get myself into here, in the ball. I am there, I have accomplished that. Started 2 months ago. That's when you feel out of the flow, down with your own. And see, I went, when first one got me, we wanted this, but that's what you look like when you get the second silver off the ground. The only problem is you can't bottom out on it. This is going to be exactly. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. You like this. We're trying to get it to do. We're trying to get you over here. And and hopefully we get something from between them. Look here. Good. Now the arms. There you go. Yeah. off on the things. That's it, that's it. Passing up. You got it, yeah. Good. You can hang it. So I gotta feel just this in this one, I can't feel any of this. Yeah. Good. That's it. Very good. Very nice. You keep them over it so far. And then before you it's Randy Smith.
Bill, Park City is asleep. Go ahead and give Hank some rest. He's gonna take a video and go over and do some of unauthorized video of Hank being.
You may need a playing lesson. Okay, so let me just, I don't want to feel any of this movement at all. That's all I want to feel to the, okay. Didn't have the feeling at all. There was a definite feeling on that one when I was coming. Yeah, that, when we were rehearsing, we said, this one, that looked really good when we go like that. There, that's it. That's it. Once you turn it, you do it. Put that one. Keep your arms on the sleeve on. Let it go in. Good. Good. Show you there. That was nice. That one feels nice. See, I have a tendency to get going. One of my big things I notice, I have a tendency to get going. Yeah. That way on it, does that, you think cause, because my hand's getting in here? Well, they're all related. I don't know which came first. If I get my hand out here, I probably. Well, it would be a lot easier to get you to turn. See where you are there? And that's why I felt like I turned a heck of a lot. Yeah. That doesn't look too much like too much. Look at the clubhouse coming back out in front. Remember where your arms were before him, guys? You were like, okay. We got the club, you moved the club out here. Yeah. You got more